Hey everybody, so I've got a one-day weekend, so I thought it'd be good to get out and take another video. It's been about a week so far, and accidentally didn't do anything, so yeah, to make up for that I thought it'd be good to make sort of a longer form video where I just sort of chat at you, talk about specifically my camera gear in the past, but stories related to that. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into my very first camera, which I don't have anymore. It's back at school. It was a school camera, so we'll get into that. So yeah, when I was a sophomore in high school, I got sort of put into digital photography. It was a class that we had accessible to us, and it was sort of just a filler class at the first point of it, really. I didn't think of myself too much as of a photographer quite yet. I was pretty excited because I had quite a few of my friends in there, but other than that, it was just sort of a, okay, I got this class, I guess. But sort of in that first week, I realized how much I liked it. And yeah, I shot with a Canon 70D back then. That was sort of the standard school camera that we had. Had two different lenses that I primarily shot on as well, the 18 to 55 millimeter and the 75 to 300 millimeter Canon lens. And they were just kit lenses, nothing too crazy about them. No real image stabilization or anything like that, but that really doesn't matter all too much, because when you're taking quick shots and doing sort of I guess what I do, whether it be wildlife or even just stuff with a tripod, the image stabilization doesn't really matter. That's more so of a video thing. Anyways, with that camera, I took lots of different photos. Probably, first year I took at least 10,000 photos or something along those lines. Probably more, but I'm sort of lowballing it just to give us an idea of how much it was. And yeah, there were different instances where I would take pictures of ravens, which I took a lot of pictures of ravens. We'll be seeing those quite shortly. I'll put a few of them in this section right here while I'm talking about ravens. So imagine a raven if you would. It's right in front of you. That's what I took pictures of. And there's also bears and different raptors at the Raptor Center that was at my, I guess, boarding school island. And yeah, there's just so many different things that I saw and thought was really cool back then, and I just took pictures of them. There's a whole bunch of stuff we did for school, like we went to the science center and took pictures of all the different fish and whatnot that they had over there. It's basically an aquarium that we had. I hear a woodpecker. Anyways, went to the Sitka Sound Science Center. That's where I went to school, by the way, Sitka. With that being said, a lot of different pictures over there. A lot of different cool experiences. I took a lot of pictures to my friends that first year because, we're dorky kids. We're going to say, oh, you look stupid right now. I'll take a picture of you. And yeah, we had probably too many pictures of each other, but, growing up, that's what you do. And with that being said, we'll sort of transition into the next camera, which I also don't have anymore. I sold that one for the camera that I'm actually recording on right now, but we'll get into that in a moment. I got for my, junior year Christmas, a T7 Rebel, a Canon T7 Rebel, and that was my very first actual camera that I owned, and it was mine. I could have it whenever I wanted, and wow, they're really pecking over there. Anyways, very first camera, very excited to get it. I had been waiting and planning for that to be my Christmas present all year, and my birthday present, really, because since I was born in December, they're sort of clumped together, which, who cares? It really is fine. But anyways, the camera that I got, it came with essentially the exact same lenses that I had from the school camera. So I had the 18 to 55 and the 75 to 300, and then I sort of scrounged around on Facebook Marketplace and got a large, I guess, treasure trove of lenses that only, let me think, 2 of them are here now, and I also got 2 others while I was at school, which that was a 24 millimeter that I'm recording on right now, and a 50 millimeter prime lens, both of them primes, which one of them I got because, oh, this is the cheapest one, and the other one I thought, oh, I need some sort of wide angle lens for, I guess, shots like this right here. So yeah, pretty cool. I took a lot more photos with that camera than I thought I would. There were, since I got it during the Christmas break, there's a lot of winter pictures that I have, which I'll sort of spread those along throughout this video as well, specifically in this section right here, because it only makes sense, really. And yeah, there are different instances that I can remember specifically, like going to the mall where we have all the Christmas tree stuff set up, going downtown when there's a lot of snow, just driving around, seeing all the beautiful clouds and skies that Alaska has when it's wintertime. Of course, you'll be seeing that while I'm talking. So yeah, just a cool camera that I had for quite some time, and at some point I realized that I'm sort of limited a little bit by it because firstly, it didn't have a flip out screen in the back, which I have used so much since then with this camera that I'm using now, and even the one that I'll talk about later. That has been so helpful, getting different shots, being able to look down at the picture instead of having to crane my head all the way to look at the back of it. So yeah, it's a very useful thing. I think it's got a little bit of a better megapixel count, but that truly does not matter when you're taking pictures. Unless you're really cropping in and doing that sort of editing stuff, I really don't do that. I sort of just shoot and that's the picture. So with that said, this camera that I'm shooting on now was the next real upgrade to my camera catalog, I suppose. This is a Canon T6i that I'm shooting on, which is actually older than the T7, but the T7 was the budget version of the T7i, which the I adds the flip out screen. You could even go back to like the T3i, and that has a flip out screen. So, you know, quite useful, especially for framing up shots and things like that. Anyways, I got this camera very similarly to a lot of other cameras that I bought that I haven't really utilized as much at a pawn shop, and I think I got a pretty damn good deal on it. It had a 50mm lens on it, same one as I already had, and it had the battery, and that was about it really, actually. But I got it for 200 bucks, and I think retail it probably goes for a little bit more than that. I'll pop up the price right here just so you guys can see how much of a thrifty guy I am. Did a pretty good job with that one, I think. And yeah, I shot that one basically up until I've been in Arizona, really. I have pictures spanning from Colorado to Seattle, all the way down to Hawaii, and just sort of everywhere. So I take a lot of street photography with this camera. I've done a lot of wildlife, a lot of, you know, pet photography. I got a dog, so gotta take pictures of him, of course. And yeah, it's sort of a very versatile, very useful camera. I've gotten a lot done with it. I'm taking video with it now, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it's sort of just a all-around great shooter that I've had the pleasure of using. But with that being said, let's talk about this next camera, this Olympus that I've been shooting on for a while. I think the full name is like the Olympus EM10 Mark III. Yeah, that's right. So I got that while I've been in Arizona. I was sort of on the search for Canon lenses because I realized that some of mine are a little bit old, a little bit damaged and whatnot. There's like, I guess, artifacting on the lenses. Some of them, not this one specifically, I don't think. Anyways, I was looking for lenses. That's how I found my cinema lens, actually, but that's unrelated. I was looking around and I saw this nice, almost vintage-looking camera body behind the glass in a pawn shop, and I thought, wow, that looks really cool. I could look at it, right? Just not buy it or anything like that. And I asked the fella to look at it, see if it worked or whatnot, and I turned it on. Shot pretty good. It was a mirrorless camera, and I never shot with one of those before, so I had the electric viewfinder in it, and I thought, wow, this is like alien technology almost, the way it is. And I asked, oh, what would this come with? Because I know there's probably the battery charger, and there's probably a bag that it came with. And the guy said, oh yeah, give me one moment. And he went into the back, and he pulled out this camera backpack that had, what? There was the 42.5 prime lens, the 60 prime lens, 60mm. There was the, I can't recall, it was the 45 to 200 zoom lens, and then there was the wide angle 25 to 200 lens, which that one sadly is not working anymore. I don't know what happened with it exactly. It has a motor that would sort of bring it in and out of zoom, and that sort of bunked out on me, and I tried to fix it, but I'm not a lens repair man, so what I ended up doing was just taking it apart, and now I just have it in my closet, and it's sort of just sitting there, not being usable. So it is what it is. I know that there are people that know how to do that. So I just have to schedule an appointment with a lens repairsman and hopefully get that back into working order, because that'd be really helpful. Anyways, really cool camera. I think grand total, it was probably worth a lot more than the $200 I spent on it. Yet again, got an insane deal on it. That's why I think that when you're looking for cameras and things like that, always go secondhand. You don't need the brand new, the most shiniest, brightest camera you can get. That is really reserved for when you're doing it professionally and whatnot. And even if you are doing professionally, I think it's a great way to get into it, just having, just a shooter that you can get used to, like my Olympus or my Canons, whatever it may be. So yeah, I did pretty damn good with that camera, and that one made me sort of fall in love with monochrome a lot more than I already was. If you didn't notice, there's a lot of that in my photography. I love black and white. I'm not sure why I'm so drawn to it. I guess there's sort of just a emotional value to it that you don't really get with color. And it's just, I guess sometimes the brightness of, I don't know, like a sunny day or whatever it may be, sort of distracts from the subject in my mind. So stripping it of its color sort of just helps to bring in that focus on the subject. So with that being said, I think I've shot probably half of the pictures that I've ever taken on this camera, the Olympus, in black and white. And I've probably taken, half of the pictures I've ever taken with that Olympus as well so far. Maybe, not exactly actually, now that I think about it, it's probably more like a third or a quarter. But even still, most of those are monochrome. I really don't know what it is about this. Okay, so a little bit of an editor's note. Originally, there was a section right here where I was talking about the old camera that I was going to be shooting with, but I ran out of storage on my SD card, so it's gone. With that being said, I will just turn that into its own video tomorrow on my disjointed one-day weekend. So with that being said, let's get back to the video. Alrighty, so I ran out of storage on my first SD card, but I got 3, so we're good. With that being said, I was sort of talking about Mr. King and whatnot, and yeah, he's sort of trying to help out the artist that doesn't have the platform that, they would like to have. Like myself, all I really have is an Instagram and this YouTube channel, and that's the only way I'm getting my pictures out there. And I take pictures, and for the longest time I didn't really know why I was doing it, but I think the reason is I would like to share them with the world. I want people to know and see sort of what I've lived through, what I've been going through, and just all the different stages of my life. Because with all of my pictures sort of starting back from sophomore year, really, you can see the progression of my life and where I was and where I am now. And it's almost like a story told through pictures, a very visual, I guess, form. And it's, something that I think that there's some value in it. Even if I'm just a random guy online, I think that there are probably at least a few people that might be a bit interested in what's going on with the Banana Man. So yeah, it's really just me yapping. I just like to talk, and it's about photography, and I like to take pictures. So with Mr. King, he's wanting to sort of build up his repertoire of people and really just get us connected with the right folks to, get our names out there and get ourselves into a spot where we can almost be independent artists. I'm already sort of independent. I don't have there's no labels with photography. There's nothing like that. I'm not with a company. I'm just me. I had a photography company actually right out of high school. I thought, I should pay for my business license and get ready because this is going to take off. It did not. So I had a cool website built and whatnot, and it sort of just never worked out because I didn't know how to really advertise myself. And yeah, it was just is what it is. And now I'm over here just working and taking pictures on the side, and it's been quite the experience. So I think with that all being said, probably should get into the outro of the video. I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of trimming down with this because I think the first 14 minutes was just about really jibber jabbering and, you know, just talking about all the different cameras I've used, and I didn't really go into anything else. Tripods, those are just sort of a interchangeable medium, I'd say. There are some fancy ones that if I had one I'd talk about it. I got the one that I'm using from a thrift store, so I don't really know. It's really just a tool that is used to hold the camera where you want it to be while you're taking a picture or a video or whatever it may be. So yeah, it's really just the camera bodies, the lenses, and I guess I could have talked about SD cards for a bit, but that'd be sort of a more, I guess, nerdy discussion where I'm talking about, oh, this one has 512 gigabytes of storage and this one has less, which doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. As long as you're getting those shots or those videos taken and just held in an SD card, it doesn't matter how big the SD card is. But I guess more is usually better, and right now I'm shooting on a 512 gigabyte one, which means I could record for probably about, I don't know, another hour, which I won't be doing. Anyways, I'm going on tangents on accident. I'm sort of free-flowing it as I usually do. I had a script written out. I spent about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours writing it, and I didn't use it once. So it's quite cool. I had several things that I wanted to discuss, which I guess I did, just not in the way that I had wanted to previously. But I think I'm actually more happy with this sort of free-form conversational type video where it's more of a, I suppose, a genuine discussion, really. And oh my god, it's cold. As of right now, I'm in the mountains. Probably, I don't know what the elevation is right now. I'll pop it up right here. Estimation-ish. And it's chilly. It's probably about 50 degrees out, which I don't like that, especially since I'm not wearing my coat. So I think that should be the end of the video. With that all being said, hope you guys enjoyed my camera rant, and I think next video shall be about pictures of the day for real this time. I know last video I said, oh, this will be the next video, pictures of the day, which I think I ought to go through more of those because I have so many. But oops, didn't do it because when I get home I get sleepy and I go to sleep, and I get in bed and go to bed. So that's sort of the preventer, but I'll try to not do that tonight, and I think I will record or edit this video, get that video put together, the pictures of the day, and I'll sort of have a, I guess, bullet in the chamber metaphorically for the next video. And I will be trying to tighten up my video schedule as well. As you can see, it's probably been about a week, and I sort of said that it was going to be like that on my last video, saying, oh, the better, more, I guess, produced videos, those are going to be sort of a once a week thing, and those pictures of the day are going to be a bit more laid back and, you know, probably just done in one take. This was done in one take, or I guess two, since man, so much stuff to just ramble on about, huh? Anyways, let's stop right there. I hope you guys have a good one, and yeah, that's the video. Bye-bye.